So the story I had my eyes on today was research out of Morgan Stanley saying that the boost that we saw from Taylor Swift, Barbie, and Beyonce, the combo of those three, so the Barbenheimer box office and then also what Taylor Swift and Beyonce did on their tours is going to contribute to, you see their Q3 PCE, but then it's also going to contribute to a pretty significant drop-off when you take a look at Q4. So they're saying that $8.5 billion of U.S. growth could be attributed to those three major events, what they're calling these one-off events. And then when you remove those out, you're going to see a drop-off come Q4. And I just think it's interesting to think about the sort of the wrap, putting a bow on the strong consumer story we've talked about a lot this summer. We know Barbie and Taylor Swift have actually driven that. I think that that's something that we've talked about a lot too, is the box office sales are real, Allie. Mm-hmm. And so to see that actually play out and then think about when you remove that from the economy, do you have another catalyst or do we finally get the slowdown?
Yeah, and on top of that, we have the student loan moratorium expiring. I mean, that is going to create a significant lag as well. You'd want to hope that back to school shopping, holiday retail sales, that could be a bit of a boost. But we've heard from a lot of retail analysts that say that's expected to slow down. So a lot of headwinds heading into the back half of the year, especially when we talk about consumption. And I also think about the writer's strike and how we're having all of these major films delayed. Dune 2, which is a Warner Brothers Discovery movie that's been pushed into 2024. There's not really, like they were saying, that one-off driver in the back half of the year to convince people that maybe it's a time to save.
Right. Well, that was I was joking today with the editors about there being Barbie 2. And it was like, well, we don't know. And you're probably not going to get much information on that in the current environment.
And it's hard to recreate what Barbie was, the phenomenon around it, the marketing. I don't know if you can recreate that.
Yeah, it's kind of caught the right cultural moment there. But also, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, like you mentioned, two massive live music draws that draw in so much money. And you know, Josh, just looking at that one, that was it Morgan Stanley? Is that what it was? That 1.9% quarter-over-quarter jump in PCE to a 0.6% drop in PCE quarter-over-quarter. That's insane. No, I can't believe. I didn't really realize the extent to the magnitude of what this spending could cause for the U.S. economy.
Well, it's interesting when you take a look at that graph, too. Actually, the bigger lag on that graph is what you see in orange, which is the student loan moratorium. They're actually giving minus 0.8 to
wow.
Well, so that it's slightly bigger. That's interesting to me, too, when you think about the overall story and sort of how we've conceptualized this in some of our stories online when thinking about Barbenheimer and Taylor Swift, is it kind of put a nice face on what was a resilient U.S. consumer, and that's what we've been talking about in the overall economic story, right? So then when you remove that, now I think you're getting into the next phase, and you think about something more like student loans, and you think about the fact that the slowdown might be coming. If the spending stops at the theaters, if the spending stops at the concerts, then we can start to see that again, a nice consumer-facing way to look at what is just an overall economic slowdown potentially.
And it's crazy, it just shows like the moratorium and the Beyonce, Swift, the magnitude are both the same almost.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say with Taylor Swift, people were going to multiple Taylor Swift concerts, literally flying to different cities just to see her multiple times.
Which is so far beyond the ticket sales.
Yeah, and that's something, we talk about Barbie not being able to potentially recreate that magic. Taylor Swift is another artist. How many other artists do you know that will fly all over the country to see an artist multiple times?
Like the fish
That's
effect.
Rare.